Thanks to our sponsor Dundeal.ie, we bring you Business Bites, the best bits of that great business show served up in individual servings.
Dundeal Motors is home to Ireland's largest range of new and premium used cars. That's why you'll find cars from Audi and BMW dealerships on Dundeal. Are you looking for a 7-seater to accommodate your growing family? Maybe you're after a luxury saloon to make a statement. We have the car for you. You'll also find Ireland's largest range of electric cars to help you make the switch. Visit Dundeal.ie today to start the search for your next car.
From episode 127, Caitriona Cullen, co-founder Cullen Nurseries, says she could do so much more business if only she could find so many more trees. Now, could too much demand for your product be the most ironic business problem to have? One of that great business show's biggest supporters is Caitriona Cullen, the driving force behind Cullen Nurseries of Hacketstown in County Carlow. Caitriona contacted us to tell us about Green Acres, or possibly Acres, a €1.5 billion government scheme to get our farmers to plant more trees. Those trees and hedgerows have got to be Irish grown, and guess what? The scheme is way oversubscribed. 1/3 of all of the country's farmers want in. However, Caitriona says there's no chance of having enough trees to satisfy that demand. As she says herself, business opportunity or headache? Well, let us ask Caitriona Cullen that very question. Welcome back to that great business show, Caitriona.
Thanks very much, Carlow. Thanks for having us.
It's a while ago since you were on, and you have been expanding your business in Hacketstown, County Carlow.
We have indeed. It's been, I looked it up, I think it's about 2 years. I can't believe it's been that long, but it's been a very, very busy time for us, thank God. Growing, pun intended. Yeah, we've been very busy, thank God.
And what kind of growth have you seen? Because you have expanded your acreage and stuff like that.
We have indeed. We started off with about 11 acres. We're now at 20. So we purchased about 8.5 acres there back in, the way the years are going, it's possibly 2 years ago now. So we would have lined that in. So we're starting to lift product out of that field now because, as you know, our business model is a little bit different in that we have to plan a couple of years ahead, which is challenging, but still at the same time it forces us to create trends rather than follow.
And you also have been busy going to and on courses, because I know you want to make sure that you shout out for your Acorns course, isn't that right?
Yes, so I was very lucky. I was in Acorn 6, which was actually run through the COVID pandemic, so it was all online. Now, look, it was a fantastic opportunity because I was homeschooling banana bread baking and teaching the next generation how to pull weeds.
You were schooling banana breads? I don't think so. I think you were schooling
and making banana breads. Was trying to balance it all. But
three of your kids, one of them who's sitting in front of me.
Yeah, that's Rory.
Hello, Rory. Oh, that's a gentle little hello in the background there.
So I was on Acorn 6 during the COVID pandemic online. So I probably, although it was brilliant and it encouraged me to look at my business and expand her business and learn fantastic new skills, it was possibly a little bit of a disadvantage in that I didn't get the whole experience and the whole networking thing. And over the last couple of years, I really have learned how important it is to build a network. So I applied for Acorns Plus. I met Paula Fitzsimons in person at the Ploughing Championship.
Our hero
is right. I specifically made time to go meet Paula, and she invited me onto Acorns, or I applied for Acorns Plus. I was successful, and she actually asked me to give a talk at the first forum, so with the new Acorns 8 people, and then with the 2 Acorns Plus teams. And
you are speaking or talking in a language that not everybody understands. What is Acorn and what Acorns, and what is it for?
So Acorns is to support the creation of rural nascent female startup businesses.
Hugely important.
Hugely important. So 50 women are selected every year. So they apply online and are selected every year. And then you go through, you get a mentor or a lead Acorn, and you have sessions over 6 months, and it helps you, encourages you, and teaches you how to look at your business from the point of view of KPIs, goals, values, a range of things that maybe you don't consider otherwise. But we meet up in person once a month for 6 months. My Acorns Plus team is a diverse collection of women across many different sectors of Irish society and business, and we meet in the Mullingar Park Hotel. And
you have a new Wonder Woman mentor that you were just telling me about.
I do. I'm very, very lucky to be under the leadership of Claire Dignan. And I came away from the first the first forum, and Rob said to me, how'd you get on? And I said, Robert, I've met the most amazing woman. She can look like there's 8 or 9 different businesses, so different. There's a nursery. There's a girl who has an oyster bar over in Sligo. There's a health and safety professional. There's Pauline Doyle from Polly and Andy Socks. Katie Muggan from Nursing Mamas. Just such different businesses. And Claire can insert herself with a fresh pair of eyes and see something in every single one of them, even if it's not an industry she's familiar with, and ask the questions that you ask yourself, and she forces you to be accountable to yourself more so than anybody else. And she's just a phenomenal mind and a very, very humble and approachable person, I think.
So it's 2 thumbs up. If you had 3, you might give it 3 thumbs up for Acorns. Any woman listening who's outside the larger cities, I guess, should talk to Paula Fitzsimons about getting onto that programme. Is that correct?
Yes. So the applications, I'm not 100% sure when the applications are open. I think it's across the summer closing date for September, I think starting in October.
No harm doing a little bit of digging, get it?
Yeah,
research now. Sorry about that.
But Acorns, how appropriate from small acorns, mighty oaks grow.
Maybe from mighty acorns.
Yeah, even mightier acorns.
So, neatly segue into the topic of the day. There aren't enough trees.
There aren't enough trees. Yeah. So the acre scheme is it's open for. It's closed now for application, but the application date was a few weeks ago. They're supposedly releasing the letters in the next couple of days to tell them who has been successful or not. So there was 34,000. I suppose, spots on the scheme. It's way oversubscribed at 50,000 people. So there's either going to be a massive further injection of funds, or there's going to be 16,000 upset farmers.
Well, you live and eat trees, so you know the kind of demand. How many trees are produced or are ready for planting in Ireland on any given year? And what is the demand from this scheme?
Well, look, we're only a small nursery, but we're not small either. At 20 acres, like, we'd have most of that under the ground, considering crop rotations, etc. Like, we'd be lining 30 or 40,000 trees into the year every year, but like, it's taken 3 years to get down to the stage where you're lifting them out again. So that's kind of the problem. It's not an off-the-shelf product. So like, there's very few family-run nurseries in Ireland. There's not going to be enough demand for them, and the criteria is that it's Irish, but we haven't been exactly guided how tight that criteria is.
And you told me off air a little story that I had not known, is that Irish can be moved a wee bit.
Yeah, there is. And like I said, we haven't been consulted, or we haven't been directly, formally informed as to what way that is. So if something is lined into the ground and it's grown for a growing season in Ireland, it's considered Irish. But is that 1 year? 1 year, one growing season.
So if you got something from Holland or wherever, you stick it in here, it becomes Irish. It's a bit like our circuit.
It does, yes, but it does, the grandparent rule. It does, but we haven't been informed if that's actually going to be sufficient. So that's probably the concern. Like, but the same thing is, these things take time. So it's bare root planting season now, but that kind of weather dependent. We could be coming to the end of bare root planting season in March, whereas we're turning around getting ready for the next couple of years, and obviously that has to be our priority at the end of March, or if nothing to sell next year, the year after. So the window's closing, nobody's got letters. So how much of a demand is going to be there for the last 4 weeks of this season, when we've already sold an awful lot of stuff already? Is the glut of the planting going to start next October?
And
when is it going to start?
That is the problem. And you, on all of the courses that you've gone on, will know. Give me the solution. What is the solution? Is there one?
I don't know what the solution is right now. I think the first and most important thing is the farmers get their letters. And I see Charlie did come out and say that he was going to make sure the letters were out by mid-February, but we're on the 16th now. I don't know what the postman's brought today, but
that's a lot of posting, though. 34,000, is that what you said? 34.
They say there's space for 34,000, but it's oversubscribed at 50,000. So it's going to be 16,000 farmers. I don't have the solution. I have the plants, but I don't have the solution. I don't have all the plants either. I don't have enough of them.
But there's nothing close to... what are the numbers that I was asking there about? How many... Let us say that they go 35,000 farmers and that they plant to the max.
Now, there is different schemes, as in some people are going to put in a new hedgerow. Some people are going to put in a riparian zone, which means that they're going to plant to improve the quality of riverbanks. Others are going to put in a buffer zone in front of slurry tanks and stuff to absorb nitrogen or the gases or the ammonia gases that are produced. So there's different elements of it, but the deadline is 2024. So realistically, anyone thinking of planting has to get their planting done by March 2024. But 2024 sounds like a long time away, but when there's only a couple of months of the year that you can plant in, It's not that long away at all. So unless they extend the deadline and, and give businesses and in nursery and industry like us time to grow more of a product that, you could get it into the following planting season, it could be a solution.
A finger in the air. Does this scheme need 1 million trees and bushes, and you have 40,000? I mean, there is a massive fall down.
We're only
shortage.
one business. There are massive businesses. There's massive nurseries. There certainly is.
But they can't produce, or can they?
We can't.
1 million?
We can't accelerate production. That's our problem. These things take time. And my mother, remember when I was getting ready to have children, she'd be like, when the apple is ripe, it'll fall. These things simply take time. It cannot be accelerated. It takes the growing season end of.
And can we import from Northern Ireland, or does that deem to be Ireland, or what are the rules and regs around that?
I hate to speculate, but unless we actually have the information, I think I'd be better off to say I don't know, to be honest.
But if you don't know, nobody knows, because it is your business.
It is our business. It is our industry. Now, I'm sure there's somebody in an office somewhere who knows, but they probably know the theory end of it, not the practical.
Now, you contacted me to give out about this, to say about this, and we both agree it's a problem, but I'm not hearing a solution.
I think a solution will possibly be to extend the deadline. I think it will give an awful lot of farmers more time. To say that there's going to be half of them planting between now and the end of 4 weeks is not logical. It's not realistic. There's ground to be prepared. There's if you're putting in new hedges, you're obviously not going to put livestock back in that field straight away. There's lots of logistical things. I think the deadline will have to be extended firstly. I think that's going to be a major factor. People are going to have to get their letters. The disappointed ones are going to have to find out. But we've priced for certain, people have applied and just to see how much it's going to cost. There's an awful lot of farmers who are going with 500 metres, 750 metres. At 5 plants to the metre. It's a lot of plants.
It's a lot of plants.
It's a lot of plants.
It's also a big investment, is it?
It is a big investment, but they will be financially rewarded by the benefits that those plants prove to have. So there is a certain element of work in it. They'll have to be kept clean. They'll have to be maintained. That it's not just a matter of put them in the ground and walk away. Now, saying that, Conal, it is a fantastic initiative in the sense that it does encourage farmers to plant. And Robert is at this business a long, long time. You should explain the Robert that you keep referencing. Robert is my husband. He has been in the nursery industry all his life. I came into the business in 2019. Partially, I was a quality manager in the food industry, partially because the likes of Rory came along, and just to try and have a better work-life balance. So Robert has a very good reputation, especially around the west of Ireland, for delivering trees from previous schemes like the Gloss and the Reps. So these schemes do work. I'm not knocking it in the sense that they do work and they do encourage people to plant. And we would find an awful lot of people who have come out with their, say, 5 years of the scheme. They see the benefit after 5 years. And 5 years is a good timeline, because when you're putting something that's only 60 or 90 centimetres into the ground, you're not seeing the benefits straight away, because these things take time. And 5 years later, you see what difference it can make. We'd have an awful lot of farmers who come back to plant, not because they have to or they're financially incentivised to, but because they genuinely want to. If you're planting native flowering hedges along your ditches, you'll find that they'll bring pollinators in, which will increase your crop yield. So I get the ethos behind it. It is a very, very good scheme. But just industry needs to know a bit more information. That's the frustrating thing. That's what we struggle with, is that we need the information. We need a bit of guidance. And that's where that's exactly where we're getting frustrated. Well, I'm hoping to post this tomorrow morning, the 17th. And if the letters arrive on Monday, I'm going to claim that it was That Great Business Show that shook up the world. I'll claim too. I'll be like, did you not hear me on The Great Business Show? That's why they all got letters. Back to your own business. You cannot supply anything near that demand. And when demand can't be supplied, prices have to go up. Yes, possibly. Look, we're very, I'm not going to say lucky. I don't know if I believe in luck anymore. Hardworking. We're very hardworking in that we have an awful lot of product in the ground, and we have done an awful lot of courses through our local enterprise office that have taught us how to run our business in a time and cost effective manner. So our overheads are lower. So we can be a bit more competitive than, say, garden centres and stuff. But garden centres is a different industry. They're selling a day out and a lifestyle and totally get it. And look, I love an old Sunday peruse in a garden centre. But prices going up, yes, there will be prices going up, most certainly. And the fact that farmers are getting a return in a couple of years, there probably will be a higher premium to be paid for plants that will serve a particular need.
Will it make a difference to you? I heard you talk there about the pollinators. Will it make enough of a difference to the actual country, to the environment, to cleaning up the place?
I think everything works in tandem. I think it's hard, like we're rural Ireland, and it's hard for people to be telling us in rural Ireland that we're the problem, that the cows in the field are the problem, or that the tractors are the problem, or that this, that and the other. Because when we come to the big smoke like today and stuff, and you can see congestion and cars, etc. Yeah, well, it is hard, and people down around the west of Ireland and all, who these schemes are probably being targeted at, that are a world away from this. Like, I think farmers in general love the land. They're keepers of the land and they love the land. It's brilliant that they're going to be financially incentivised to mind it, but I think even from our own point of view, like we had a Green for Micro advisor there through the local enterprise office in the last couple of months, and I was astounded by the amount of things that he was saying, that's brilliant, that we're doing because it makes sense for us. Like simple things, like we've a wet patch in the nursery and Robert put in alder trees, and alder trees are actually nitrogen fixing trees and they actually improve soil quality and they love the water. We haven't done that for any tick the box exercise for a Green for Micro programme. We've done that because it makes sense. Like we've planted the boundary of our nursery with different types of trees that will give us a bit of protection from storms. Like we haven't done that for a tick the box exercise. We've done that because it makes sense for us. And there's farmers up and down the length and breadth of this country who are daily, not just tick the box exercises, making improvements to biodiversity and making improvements to the environment because it makes sense. Like the amount of manure that's coming out of sheds this year so that they don't have to buy fertiliser because of the cost of fertiliser, but also because they're going back to tradition. And Rob's dad, we do that. We have a few cattle. It's a hobby. Rob doesn't play golf, but he talks to his animals. Like he's always wanted to do that, and I think it's brilliant for him because Rob came from a terraced house in Hacketstown. Him and his brother have a massive love of the land, and that's what they do. They keep cattle as a hobby. It's great. He says it's a great way of holding money together. I don't know. But he takes the manure out of the sheds and he turns out he's going back to systems and principles that were in place 60, 70 years ago. And his dad would have guided him on that, turning it every so often to get the best out of it, heats it up and composts it down. And farmers are doing that. They have been doing that for hundreds of years.
Isn't it funny that what's happening in Ukraine can have that
Such
benefit?
an impact.
Yeah, so that impact. Hard to talk about benefits with war. How and ever, two final questions. One is, how can TeamGBS, our lovely listeners, help you at Cullen Nurseries?
Share the word about us. Because I have to say, we actually care. We genuinely care. We're family run, but we run around our family. I've just made the decision this week that we'll close the nursery on Saturdays because I've many a cold sideline to stand on. So if you could, please make an appointment before calling. I don't want you to waste your diesel and increase carbon emissions by calling unnecessarily if we're not there. Spread the word about us. We're very passionate about what we do. We love what we do, and I'm well able to talk. I love people. And
we love you because you actually got on to me. And obviously you've been on the show before, but you felt that this needed to be aired. And that's what we love. We want to hear more about business issues from people just like you. Thank you, but I knew you had a great platform, so I said I would tap into my network. It's all about networking. Caitriona, you're lovely. Hire in a heartbeat. I've asked you before. I can't remember who you recommended. Amy Hooverman before, I have to say, but I'm splitting it between two. I'm going Claire Dignan because she's going to love you. Claire's ex-RTE. Yes, I'm honoured to have her insight into everything. But you know who I think is absolutely deadly? Darren Garrahy. Yeah, I think for a young woman, podcast. Yes, she does. She's a great sense of humour. Look, I'm all about. I was listening to one of your podcasts on the way up. That guy who was talking about healthy workplaces, and we have a small team, but we really, really appreciate our team. We value our team, and I think to be able to have a banter and a bit of a laugh in a workplace is so very, very important. And it does, and I completely agree that it does increase performance. And I think Darren Garrahy has a great sense of humour. I think she's a great business head. She's made great decisions all the way along. And even if she does make a bad decision, she'll put her hands up and acknowledge it. I think what she's done with her career is fantastic. And I'd also love access to her dad, Eugene Garrahy. He sounds like an absolute font of, not knowledge, but one-liners that will absolutely change your mind. Final question. I've only just thought of this. Do you talk to your trees? Rory's making faces. Rory I have just said to say, yes. I'm very
Robert and I work together and we're married and we have a family together and we're very, we spend an awful lot of time together, but we have very, very strong weaknesses and very, very strong strengths, and we balance each other out. And I have to say that I and Robert would have many a business meeting or a management meeting walking up and down the trees, between the rows of trees in the nursery, because it gives you perspective, but it's also a very, very calm place to be. We make a lot of our very good decisions out there.
You didn't actually answer whether you talked to the trees.
No, I talked to him. Maybe he talks to the trees. I don't know. When he's finished talking to the cattle.
Caitriona Cullen of Cullen Nurseries, thank you so much for coming back to us on That Great Business Show. And please come back to us again.
I will indeed. Thanks for having us.
Want to increase sales, reduce overheads and provide customers with a better service? Then use Big Red Web, the easiest way to develop and maintain your website. It gives you powerful business reporting, digital marketing and automatically integrates with the award-winning Big Red cloud accounting software. It's a game changer for SME businesses. It's so good, the government gives you a €2,500 grant towards it. Big Red Web, e-commerce made simple. BigRedCloud.com/web.
De facto shaving oil, made only from natural oils. Nothing nasty on your skin.
This interview was first posted on episode 127 of That Great Business Show. Make sure to share with any farmer or landowner you know. For more great business insights, listen to the entire back catalogue of That